Okay, about a month ago, I actually did a short video illustrating the concept of an idea that I had about implementing a channel reduction, what I call a redux of high channel audio to a stereo format. And I've been diligently working on that issue, and I have finished a implementation of a plugin that implements what I was illustrating using Spatial Pan, but actually it doesn't actually require the Spatial Pan as such, but the generic panner that's within Spatial Pan it makes use of. So yes, I've currently completed a implementation of a VST3 and AU plugin, what I call a Har-Bal Redux plugin, which allows you to quickly reduce a high channel format such as 7.1 or 7.1.2 if you're talking about an immersive format, to something lower like stereo, for instance. Had some fun trying to debug it, but it appears to be fully functional and fully working and free of bugs. In the process, I also discovered a range of issues in my existing panner algorithm with regard to errors in implementation for various formats, channel formats that is. Not that many, most of them were correct, but there were a handful, maybe, I don't know, 5 or so that presented problems that I had to sort out and fix. And I wrote a test harness to actually check every single format that I support in that panner, and it's all, I'm fairly confident, 100% correct now. Any other issues that I found? Yeah, I guess there was one other issue in that it's a long-standing issue with my plugins. Depending on what DAW, as in digital audio workstation, you work in, you may or may not have had the issue, but for certain hosting targets, my plugins just wouldn't work correctly. And I've since discovered that the reason for that was my misunderstanding of a particular aspect of the VST3 implementation and standard. So I've, at the same time as implementing this new plugin, which I'm actually making free, it's a free plugin, I also went through all my existing plugins and fixed those issues. So basically, I've done a complete rebuild of every single plugin that I've authored that's available on the website. So my recommendation with regard to that is that you should download the latest builds and install them, assuming you have them. Although I will point out that these changes only apply to version 2 implementations of my plugins. The version 1 implementations of my plugins are essentially legacy products, so I'm not changing them at all. So they would have those bugs in place and not addressed. So if if that's an issue to you and the plugin is worthwhile, then I'd suggest contacting me about an upgrade to it. It's not going to be free, obviously, but that's the only way you'll get a fix for a version 1 plugin. In terms of how you get access to my latest plugin, free plugin development, the Har-Bal Redux plugin, you can access it in exactly the same way as you access the free limiter. Basically, I haven't added anything special on the website. There's nothing mentioning it on the website, but if you just apply for the free limiter plugin, that will automatically grant you access to the Har-Bal Redux plugin, because it sits in exactly the same folder at this point in time. So when you actually go to download the free limiter, you'll see the Redux plugin there at the same time. What is the benefit of this plugin over existing approaches to channel reduction? The essential benefit primarily for, there's twofold benefit. One, it's absolutely trivial to do. So it does all the, how would you say, it does all the channel mixing or reduction through channel mixing automatically, so there's nothing there for you to concern yourself about, and it's basically based on speaker positions, so it comes up with a reasonably good reduction in that approach, which is representative of the original mix. It's particularly beneficial for stereo mixes, because in a standard redux of, say, 7.1 to stereo via the typical rules, you get a dramatic narrowing of the spatial image, because standard panning laws only pan as wide as the speaker arrangement is. So, for instance, on real speakers, plus or minus 30 degrees. Whereas in my Har-Bal Redux plugin, it actually makes use of my wide pan algorithm, which actually on speakers pans wider than the speaker placement. As I mentioned in the earlier video, for reasons that I don't quite understand, that extra width you get in imaging seems to work in headphones as well, even though it wasn't specifically designed for headphones. It was designed with loudspeakers in mind, but it seems to convey the same extended width in headphones, or extended scene, if you like, compared to a simple channel reduction approach. So for creating stereo mixes from high channel, it is far superior to the existing approaches as far as I'm concerned. And I can actually give you an illustration of that right now to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So if I now switch to this project here, which is just a demonstration project, all it's working on is a 7.1 mix I've done of the TSA Dream Team in Krakow in 2024, courtesy of multi-channel sources provided to me by Peter Palvas. Yeah. So I'm using it basically as a test case, and I've just basically taken a rendering from that mix into 7.1 into this Logic Pro session, which is set up for ATMOS basically. It's not because I'm using ATMOS, but I'm using, if I open this plugin, you will see that I'm using the Apple binaural renderer to render the bus into a binaural rendering. So in essence, I'm using it so that you, if you're listening via headphones, can get a sense of how it preserves or does a better job at preserving the spatial width of a mix than a conventional Redux. So this is the basic Redux plugin here. As you can see, I've just put it on my 7.1.2 bus here prior to the ATMOS encoder. Yeah, it just sits on the 7.1.2. You have this drop down here that allows you to select compatible Redux formats. So you see, because it's sitting on 7.1.2 bus, that's the highest you can select, and if I select that, it'll just be the original mix in essence. And then you can select any of the other formats which share the same speakers. By that I mean any lower channel format that sits on, or that appears in this list, basically has speakers of the same type, for instance. So for instance, 7.1.2 has a left and a right and a center, so that's why LRC is compatible. But you see, if you look through this list, you don't see the, for instance, 7.1 cinema formats, because the cinema, except for this one, which is actually, it's not like, basically that particular cinema format has left, right, center channels plus elevation channels, but there's like a equivalent of a 7.1, which is a 7.1 cinema format, which has left, center right, and right. So because the center left, center right channels don't exist in this bus format, it doesn't appear in those lists because it's incompatible, because there's no way. Essentially, the way this plugin works, the output bus format of the plugin is exactly the same as the input bus format. So in essence, it basically just preserves the channels, but it makes some of the channels empty of content. So as such, the channels on the output side have to be able to be directly routed to the bus that it sits on, which is why I do that filtering. So that's why you can't select a format that doesn't have a particular channel in this source format. That's a rather long-winded explanation, but that's basically the way this list is enumerated, and it's basically dynamic, so it will change depending on what the bus format is that the plugin is actually sitting on. So the way you typically would use it is you would put it in a bus of your high channel type, and then the output of that you would route to a bus of the channel, the target channel type that you're trying to reduce to. So for instance, if I was trying to reduce to a stereo, then the output of this I would route to a stereo bus, thereby reducing the channels just to left and right in the output bus. And although the DAW itself would actually provide rules to automatically mix down from, say, in this case, 7.1.2 to stereo, all the channels that it would mix down have no content in it, so it has no effect. That actual, the setting for the native, if you like, Redux process has no effect because those channels are empty of their content. So if I actually go on to demonstrate this, I'll just start with the, I won't actually start up here because it isn't a 7.1.2 because the actual source material is 7.1, so I'll start on a 7.1. And you can just listen to how the mix changes as I select different target bus formats. And you can also, the other thing is I have this gain plugin, multi-channel gain plugin here, not because I want to alter the gains, but because I want to illustrate to you that the channel content, because you see this appears after the Redux, is being reduced to the format that's selected here. So you'll see channels drop out as I change this. And the reason why I needed this here is because the ATMOS plugin here is rendering binaural, so you'll only see 2 channels here on whatever format that I'm playing, because it's a binaural rendering of what is coming into it, which is what you'll see here. So let's play it. So this is 7.1. Go to 6.1, lost with center channel. 5.1, get the center channel back, but lose the extra surround, the side surround. Quad, it's just got 4 channels. Left, right, center. Stereo. I've just turned the volume down a bit so you can hear what I'm about to say, but I'm about to switch between stereo and 7.1 and then back again, maybe a couple of times. Just pay attention to how the spatial width is comparable between each.
niech dam ci rozkosz, a potem cię zjem.
So, I hope you can hear that, at least in headphones, it's doing a fairly good job at preserving the spatial width of the recording. It's not quite as wide, but it's pretty good. If I actually go back to my ATMOS renderer, and now if I select just plain stereo, basically what the renderer will be doing now is just a simple reduction to stereo. So now, but the point is my Redux processor here, because it's rendering to stereo, the width of stereo through this should be unaltered in terms of quality via this ATMOS Redux to 2 channels, but the 7.1 will be substantially reduced in terms of quality, or should be. So let's see how that fares.
No i co on tam pije?
Notice how the width collapses when I put it in 7.1.
Pozdrawiamy was!
Hang on.
W ogóle z wszelkich stron świata. Cieszymy się, że mamy takich fanów, że tak daleko przyjechali. Pozdrawiamy was! Witamy fanów z Hiszpanii, z Londynu, z Elbląga. W ogóle z wszelkich stron świata. Cieszymy się, że mamy takich fanów, że tak daleko przyjechali.
So there you go. I think that's a clear indication of how superior this stereo Redux is compared to what is standard in Dolby Atmos. The simple form of Redux is just really quite unsophisticated and results in a collapse in the stereo width, whereas this does a much better job of preserving that width. And I shall leave it at that. If you're interested in trying out the plugin, because it's free, you can go and go to the Har-Bal website and select to download the free Har-Bal limiter, where you will find, when you actually get to the download page, because basically what happens is you make an application to download the free limiter by providing your email address, sends you an email with a link. Click on the link and you'll be able to download both the Har-Bal limiter and the Har-Bal Redux plugin. And I'll leave some notes in the video description. And I'll leave it at that.